Alright everybody, thank you for coming to today's video. As of today, the recording of this video is Monday, April 28th, 2025. Starting our day off, I woke up about 3:30 this morning. I just wanted to film the time just to document that it was early in the morning. So again, in this video, you're going to have to excuse my voice. Please forgive my voice. It still hasn't come back. I'm still coughing a lot, and I might pause my actual recording just so I can clear out my throat. I know that's gross. TMI, I know. But everything you're seeing in today's video is actually from today's footage, actually, as of the recording of the video, like I said. Just kind of spread throughout the day. I'm driving along I-15 right now, going northbound. And my final destination will be in Boardman, Oregon. I'm driving an I-15 I-84 mix, and eventually I-15 will split off, go northbound towards Pocatello, Idaho, whereas I-84 will start heading west out towards Portland. And Boardman is actually in Oregon, so again, we're going to be going towards Portland, and if we're going to go towards Pocatello, we'd be going in a completely wrong direction. We're going to be going north towards Montana if we took that route. I also wanted to make a little side note, but throughout this entire video, I'll be leaving captions or subtitles about places that you'll be seeing in the video, like you see right now, just to kind of give you a heads up about what's going on. If you feel like you missed a subtitle or a caption or somewhere I've been, please feel free to go back and rewind a little bit just to get an idea of where I'm at or what you're seeing, and just kind of follow along with me as we drive along on today's route. Now, I've been driving along this route for quite some time now. I've actually been a CDL driver for going on 4 years. And I want to say a little bit more than half of that, about 2.5 years of that. I want to say that I have actually been driving up towards Boise. When I first started driving, first job I drove for, first trucking company I actually drove for was Cisco Foods. By the way, side note real quick before I go on, you'll see that my camera is actually on a dash mount. I'm using a GoPro, and I actually have all these mounts kind of placed all over the truck that I actually use, just so I can keep my hands free from handling the camera. And I also have like a little remote that I use to press record and then stop recording. So I had to put that in there, just for safety reasons. But anyways, like I said, my first trucking job was Cisco Intermountain. I didn't really have to leave Utah County at all. There was like 2 days a week where I had to go down into Juab County go down to Nephi, Utah for the day. But the majority of the time I was actually staying in and around Orem and Provo, going to the BYU campus, delivering food over there. Anyways, my second driving job was for the Hub Group. Eventually, you'll see like a train carrying shipping containers across the bridge. I'll be going under that bridge. You'll see it later on in the video. It has shipping containers on there, and it's got Hub Group containers on there. That's what I would actually haul along. All these stops I go to today are places that I have stopped while doing that route for the Hub Group. I used to go, starting in Salt Lake City at the Union Pacific Rail Yard, I used to go and pick up a container there, a loaded shipping container there, pick it up, and I would head up to Nampa, Idaho. You'll see that I park at the Nampa, Idaho Walmart. That was like where I would usually go and take my breaks. So what I would do is I would go pick up the shipping container from the Union Pacific Rail Yard in Salt Lake City and take that all the way up to the Amazon facility up in Nampa, Idaho, just outside of Boise, Idaho. I would drop off that loaded container, and I would pick up an empty container of ours from there, because the majority of the time the next day I would actually have to drive to Idaho Falls, which is about a 4-hour drive from Nampa, Idaho. So I would go there, drop it off the load, pick up the empty, then I would park at that Walmart. You'll see it later on in the video. And I would take a half-hour lunch break there, and then I would drive another 2.5 hours down to Twin Falls, Jerome, Idaho area. You'll see that in the video too today. And I used to go and park there and then stay there at the hotel, and then the next morning I had to start at 5 a.m. My appointment wasn't until 9, but the company I was driving for, Hub Group, required that I clocked in at 5 a.m. So I had to make sure that I at least 10 hours between the time I get out the day before and the time I actually had to clock in the next morning. So that was enough time. So once I stayed the night in Twin Falls and Jerome in there, it would only be like a 2-hour drive from there. So I would just leave in the morning. And most of the time I would actually get there by about 7 or 7:30 in Idaho Falls at the facility that I had to go to do a live load. And even though my appointment wasn't until like 9 or 9:30, I would get there at 7 or 7:30, and they would put me in the door right then and there. So it was awesome. And then after they get that loaded, I would bring that load all the way back down to Salt Lake City. I'd scale out. I would actually scale out one of these Love's gas stations, but the Idaho Falls one, and then make sure that the weights are evenly distributed. No more than 34,000 pounds at the tail end in the middle, and no more than 12,000 pounds where I hook up on my trailer and my truck. And that would just bring that down to Salt Lake City. And it would usually be me and maybe like another 4 to 5 drivers that would do the same route. And we would actually usually stop at all these same places together, all these rest stops, the gas station in Haber, Idaho we just went to. And we'd also pretty much stay at the same hotel. We'd all have our own little rooms. And we always would end up meeting here at the Bliss rest stop too and just kind of catch up, take a quick like 10-minute break because I know it sounds like it's not a lot of work just sitting there behind the wheel, and really it isn't. You feel kind of lazy, but after driving for a few hours, 2-3 hours, if any of you have ever actually been on a road trip, you know what it feels like. You go there, you'd be driving for so long, and then you would want to get up off your butt. So we would always meet at this rest stop, at this table. We'd sit there and eat a lunch, a quick lunch, 10 or 15-minute break, and then go about our business and stuff like that. And the appointments we had at the Amazon facility were usually 24 hours. They just had to be there on a certain day, just in that same 24-hour period. They were all usually an appointment for the same day, so we all got there at about the same time. Sometimes we would all be at that Twin Falls hotel I mentioned, and some of us would go a little bit farther back into Haber and to Burley. And we would all end up at the same place the next morning anyways. We just had different appointment times the next morning. But we would all basically show up at the same time. They would all put us in our doors, and we would be on our merry way. It was fun. I do have to admit, though, me and the other drivers that would always go to Basic American Foods in Idaho Falls, we would go there and we would get loaded, and they would have us loaded within an hour. But we always had to give an ETA time back to our dispatch down in Salt Lake City. So as soon as we all got loaded, we asked to get like a stop added onto our dispatch to, there you go, there's some of the hub group containers right there. Anyways, we would ask to get those scale stops added to our stop, so that way we can get paid for that. But we would never tell our dispatch when we were leaving, because we wanted to go there, take our time scaling out, and pull over to the side, grab something to eat, and then we'd probably be hanging around there for about an hour. They wouldn't really notice. At least not that we thought. We thought that we thought that they weren't paying attention, basically. So we would be there for about an hour, just chit-chatting, talking and stuff like that, talking about how our loads went. And then if our weights in our trailer are off a little bit, we would help each other out with moving the tandems and stuff like that back and forth. And then we would leave about an hour later after we all scaled out and had eaten something. And usually by about that time, it was about 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning when we left. And driving to Salt Lake City from Idaho Falls in our trucks would take about 4 hours. That would actually only take us about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. But we gave ourselves an extra half an hour to an hour because we're in a slower truck, and we didn't really want to rush it because we didn't really want to damage the freight. Plus, what if something happened and we got caught in traffic? So we always gave ourselves a little bit of an extra time just to work with. But we would actually say, even though we were leaving at like 10:30, we could have easily gotten back to Salt Lake City by about 1:30, 2 o'clock. We would always tell them we weren't getting back until about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because usually by that time, if we give them an ATA that be back in Salt Lake City at that time, we would more than likely not get another dispatch, because we knew that by the time we would get back and they started giving us another dispatch, we would run out of time, because it would be like rush hour traffic right around the time right around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the Salt Lake City area. So we had to lie about the times a little bit and just kind of adjust that. So before I started working for Penske last year, and the job I work now, I'm still not going to name the company I drive for now because I'm still under contract with them. I don't want to tarnish their reputation or anything like that. I don't want to do any of that. So here's the Nampa, Idaho Walmart that I would always park at and do my half-hour lunch before heading back to Twin Falls in Idaho, Twin Falls and Jerome in that area. Up until my last job, the farthest I would actually ever drive to was basically here. You cross the border into Oregon, and the first town you come up to is Ontario, about a mile or two in. And we would go there and do pickups. That was like the farthest I would actually go as a truck driver until I started driving for Penske. When I drove for Penske last year, I would go up to Alberta, I would go to Montana, all over Idaho, Oregon, Nevada, parts of California, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, basically all over the place here in the West. That was not Washington State. I didn't go to Washington State once at all when I was working there. But then I started working at the job I work at now, and now every week I go to Ridgefield, Washington from Salt Lake City, and that's a 16-hour drive in my truck. And my truck is actually governed at 65 miles per hour. They have it set to where I cannot go faster than 65 miles per hour at all. And I can only reach that speed if I put it in cruise control. If it's not in cruise control, I can only reach 62 miles per hour. So I did that now. So I go up to Ridgefield. It just seems like it takes forever. I wish my trucks are governed at. I wish my truck was governed at 70 miles per hour, like it was at Penske, because it seemed like the week would go a lot quicker driving. I mean, and I know it's only 5 miles per hour faster, but it just seems like it would go a lot quicker with that additional speed on our trucks. But I ended up getting used to it. Now with a good chunk of the rest of the videos you'll see in today's video is my GoPro at the end of my selfie stick. It's like one of those GoPro Volt thingies where it's like a battery charger and a Bluetooth remote all in one package. I would stick my hand out the window, I just kind of hit the record button, and then this is basically footage that you're seeing. And also the majority of this video is actually on my way up to Ridgefield. Like I said before, it's about a 15 or 16 hour drive to get from Salt Lake City to Ridgefield, Washington. Now here we are in the mountains of Dead Man's Pass, Blue Mountains and stuff like that. Anyways, it's about a 15 or 16 hour drive from Salt Lake City to Ridgefield. And knowing the rules of being a truck driver, we're allowed to be on duty for 14 hours. And we're allowed to drive for 11 hours, but before we can do our full 11 hours, we can drive up to 8 hours, and then we have to take a half-hour lunch break, report it on our logs, and then we can do an additional 3 hours. So I usually go up to Boardman, Oregon, which is the Love's gas station you'll see at the very end of this video, which is coming up here pretty soon. So we're going to end this here pretty shortly. But it takes me about 10 and a half hours to get from Boardman, or to get from Salt Lake City to Boardman, Oregon, and that's where I'm actually going to stay out for the night. There's plenty of truck parking here, and this is where I usually stay out for the night. I'm going to go ahead and end my audio narration right now because I really have nothing else to say. But these are all stops. All the stops you've seen in this video are stops that I've actually been stopping at for the past few years outside of this job. And then also all the stops you see in Oregon in this video are stops that I would make while working at this company. Anyways, thanks for watching today's video, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the footage, and we'll talk in tomorrow's video. Bye. I also forgot to mention, don't forget to check out the links down below to check out some of my other content, because you'll find some really awesome pictures on my Instagram. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll talk later.
everybody watching has to subscribe. Subscribing is cool. Thanks.